Okay, Bakan Farm, can you tell us what is the relevance of these water catchment areas here near Sora and why should we protect them?
Well, I think the answer is obvious enough. Cherra is known as the wettest place on earth, but it is also the driest place when it is not raining. And we have these water sources around the place. We need to plant trees. We need to not only preserve the water sources, but enhance the water output by planting trees. This is the only way I think that we can save Sora from the terrible water scarcity that it faces during the dry months of winter and spring.
What is your experience from planting different species of trees? I know you have a little plot of land there that was given to you by the Sora community. So can you explain a little bit from your own little experiment? What are the kind of species that could work if we start a little reforestation project here?
You know, what you should do is, we have these community forests, sacred groves, um, trees growing thick in these low-lying areas. We need to take these native trees and plant them and replant them, in the barren plots. Um, Importing trees from outside will never do, because they will never be able to withstand the onslaught of wind and rain in Cherra. You need these native species. There are various native species, countless of them, whose names cannot even be translated into English. But basically we need to take saplings from the existing sacred forests and prohibitive community forests and plant them elsewhere in Sora itself.
Well, I've seen some pine trees being planted around there by the forest department, some social forestry project. What has that actually worked, or why has it failed? There's nothing growing actually.
Yeah, as you, as you said, nothing much is growing, and even the pines that have survived, they have not been able to grow into their full maturity, into their full size and length. And they have a saying in Sora, they call them "ding kruaj the air." That means, they have become wind-twisted trees. So they cannot grow beyond, beyond the scrawny little bushes that you see.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Noakalikai Falls and I've seen some of your poetry there, small quotes about the trees. Where was that inspired from? I mean, about the land, the look of the land, and the connection. I mean, you're a local guy. You're from this part of town, so has that been influencing you, the way you think and the way you've written your poems and writings?
Cherra has always been inspiring me. As you said, I was born and brought up here. Then I left to Shillong for schooling and now for employment. Whenever I come to Sora, I see these hills, looking like rat-bitten potatoes, ravaged by the activities of man. And I have this deep fervent feeling, to turn Cherra green again, and that's why I wrote those poems where I talk about the need of growing trees, the need of preserving water sources, the need of rejuvenating the hills. That comes from the heart because, as you said, I belong here. I was born and brought up here, and I'm sure that when I retire, I'll come back here.
What do you think can be done here? Is there a potential that we can actually start a large-scale restoration project, and do you think we can get enough land from these community-owned plots that are completely barren?
Yeah, we just had a discussion with the the leaders of the Kleeshnong Dorbar, and I think they were very enthusiastic about the project that you have in mind. And I think they said that they could make around 600 acres of barren land available for replanting or afforestation. It could be done. It will be difficult, but it could be done. In the sense that in certain places you have to dig large holes and import soil from elsewhere, pour into these holes and plant trees. And after that, you need to guard them against cattle and goats. You need to guard them against fire. And this is a very bad habit that they have here. Every winter, they would set the hills ablaze, just for the fun of it. So when trees are planted, we should take care that they don't fall victim into these wild fires, and that could easily be done, if we have community involvement. So these are the two things, that we need to guard against. It could be done, but it's a lot of hard work, but surely it could be done.
What would be the role of academic institutions? Like here you have the Ramakrishna Mission. You yourself, you're a lecturer at the Northeastern Hill University. Do you think we should collaborate and partner with these existing educational institutions? Because like you said, it's important to educate people how to protect water catchments, why to reforest trees, and how to create sustainable livelihoods or green jobs for the community so they go cut down the forest for charcoal. What do you think of that?
I think it's a very good idea, to involve educational institutions. The university will provide some expertise. For example, the Northeastern Hill University has a department called the Department of Environmental Studies. So they definitely have experts there. And when you talk about schools and colleges in Sora itself, from experience, I know that students could be the most enthusiastic, could be turned into the most enthusiastic foot soldier of any project of this kind. So definitely, it would be very, very advisable and desirable to involve them.
And finally, can you give us one line or a quote that inspired you about this land here, especially about the trees and the water?
I don't know if I can recall anything, right now.
Or you can just create one right now.
There was a poem, where I talked about the barrenness of the place, and I said, something to this effect. I said, the wind rules this land. For where are the trees to temper its wild laughter into romantic wooing? Old trees, like old men, die off every winter, and new ones are put to the flame but are not troubled to be born. Something like that. This is part of a poem that I...
Thank you so much, Bakan Pham. It was wonderful. Thank you.